Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious. We will review the theatrical films, we know what they are, the theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. We're keeping that take. I don't care. This week we're reviewing Marvel's What If Episode 1. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? Also known as What If Doc could actually do an intro? I don't know. Maybe. All right, I am your host, Doc Rodney, and joining me tonight are the crew, including the Slattman. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. Some Marvel animation from Disney Plus, and this is going to be exciting. Yes, he agrees. All right. All right. Also joining us is
you were going somewhere there. I'm sorry.
I reached my destination, but it had no impact. Award-winning filmmaker, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
I'm just here for the swole Peggy Carter. That's all I'm here for. I want more swole Peggy Carter.
I really don't know how to take that. I know what you mean.
She can take it any way you want. But I'll take it any way Peggy Carter dishes it to me.
Okay, I'm actually hearing it the way you're saying it, and this is scary. All right. As you know, we have been covering all the Marvel and Star Wars and a few other things, content from Disney Plus, and been enjoying it. We've been doing The Mandalorian. We did WandaVision. We did. I'm not going to name them all. We did them all. Now we're doing What If. This is Marvel's step into animation on Disney Plus. It's not their first step into animation, but at least with this particular brand, it is a new studio and one that got greenlit to become a full-fledged studio after this particular series was completed, from what I understand. So this is a new thing, and I think we're going to expect much more. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did What If season 2 get?
It's been greenlit.
It's been greenlit. All right. I wanted to make sure I heard that right. So
you're right. It'll be 9 episodes like this one.
9 episodes. That's exciting. All right.
Yeah. Well, this was supposed to be 10 episodes, but because of COVID, they had to knock it back down to 9. So
9 works for me. 9 works for me. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions of the show, and then we're going to discuss it. The first impressions will be spoiler free, but the discussion will not. We will dive into spoilers, and then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene. But what are we talking about? What is this What If you speak of? Well, it is on Disney Plus. This episode debuted Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, titled What If Captain Carter Were the First Avenger? It was directed by Brian Andrews, written by Matthew Chauncey and A.C. Bradley. The cast includes... Oh, wow. This is amazing. Haley Atwell, Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher, Josh Keaton, Samuel L. Jackson, Jeremy Renner, Stanley Tucci, Dominic Cooper, Bradley Whitford, Ross Marquand, Neil McDonough, and Sebastian Stan, and Toby Jones. If you saw the first Captain America, the first Avenger, a lot of those names sound very familiar to you. If you love Marvel movies, most all those names sound very familiar. There's a couple names missing, but it's not surprising about those. But the ones that are there, I think, are actually excellent. And I'm going to start off saying Jeffrey Wright voicing the Watcher may be the most perfect voice casting in a long time. I really liked it. I hope you guys agree. But let's start off with our first impressions of episode 1. Slattman, you are up first.
It was very good. It's very fun. It's enjoyable. I like the direction that this took. It kind of went in. I think you guys both know what I'm referencing when I say this, but there was a moment in there that there were a couple moments in there that it really went that I was not expecting, and I really enjoyed every single one of those moments. There is another moment that I kind of wish that they had done a little differently, which I'll get into, I guess, a little more in the spoilers. Because, yeah, but I mean, this is a what if, that doesn't doesn't mean that it didn't happen in another multiverse. So I guess it's okay.
There could be yet another small decision to do another.
I know.
No.
I know. But yeah, it was fun. I think the animation looks very good. For a new studio, this is very well done, and I've seen a lot of people online hope that they work with Pixar on a project because their style with Pixar's expertise, or the other way around, Pixar's style with this new studio's expertise in cell shading could make something really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what they do next, and I'm excited for the next 8 episodes because this one was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I skipped over the synopsis for this for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it was when Steve Rogers is seriously injured, Peggy Carter becomes the world's first super soldier. Obviously, that's in the title. So the title and the synopsis are the same thing. Maybe that's why I just skipped over it. But let's find out what Christopher G. Moore's first impression of What If may be. Sir, let us have it.
I loved it. I mean, I think it's a really great start to the series. It opens up so many possibilities. I want Captain Carter everything. I really hope the rumor is true that she might show up in Doctor Strange 2. We have Hallie Atwell in full Captain Carter regalia. Please let this happen. Or I just love a spinoff series of just her adventures as Captain Carter, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, I love how we get those moments that sort of parallel, but then drift off in its own direction when it comes to how it sort of goes along with Captain America. When we get his sort of like backstory of how he became, and we get those sort of moments, but her type of spin on those moments. And I'll say that, I mean, some of the action stuff in this is really well done. There's like a whole action montage with Captain Carter that I was smiling from ear to ear. It was so really well done. There's like one where you just follow her through the action, and it's just amazing. Yeah, I just felt like I was watching a comic book coming to life. And it just makes me kind of excited what other types of stories we can see that have these characters in alternate universes that allow them to sort of like breathe and tell their own stories. So we're not relegated to just that one specific timeline of this is the MCU, this happened. But now this opens up the universe literally to so many different stories. And I think this is a great start. And at the same time, I just want more. I want more of swole Peggy Carter, please.
You're gonna haunt my nightmares with that word again. All right,
I love a muscular woman, so.
And then that's just this Captain Carter is amazing. This show really surprised me on how good it was. The original comic came out in February of 1977. That's when Marvel put out the What If. It was what if Spider-Man had joined the Fantastic Four, because he tried to do that in one of the early issues and of Spider-Man, I think. So anyway, and I was there. I bought that thing off the rack. Yeah, get off my lawn. They captured that spirit, and the Watcher. With Jeffrey Wright in there, and all the voice acting was great. There's a couple names in there that you see that are actually, maybe not in the entire thing, but Haley Atwell certainly is and does a great job voicing Captain Carter. And yes, the animation is really interesting for this flavor of storytelling. It feels like a comic book. It feels like they step out of a comic book page. It's really interesting. What was it? What did you say? It was cell shading, right, Christopher?
Cell shading, yeah.
And it's very fluid and very very pleasing. And there's some action scenes in here that are amazing. I think they outdid themselves. They did basically squeeze the 2-hour first Avenger movie into 30 minutes, so it does feel that rushed kinetic thing to it, but I I didn't mind that. I enjoyed it. I thought it, for 30 minutes, this went by so fast, and I was into every second of it. And there are surprises, and but yet the story beats feel familiar if you watch and love that first Captain America, first Avenger movie. And it even well, I won't spoil that here, but there's lots of beats, and we including the Red Skull. So and punching Nazis every time you punch a Nazi, that's a good point, right? So I loved it. I'm just going to stop there. I loved it. Let's dive into all the spoilers now. I guess the biggest spoiler is kind of a first Iron Man. Yeah, for little Steve Rogers to fly around in.
No, that was so great.
Wasn't it?
I was so excited when they did that, because at first I thought Steve was not really going to be a part of it, but I loved that he became like, what was it, the Hydra Smasher?
Yeah, great name.
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought there were a lot of great comedic moments that they had with that thing. One of the best ones is when they power it up and he just falls.
Yes. Well, yeah, because they have to power it up separately, differently.
Yeah.
And then like when Bucky goes, I think I know him too. Yeah, they realize.
Well, it's even more fun how they sort of take certain elements that you're used to seeing in the MCU, like whenever you saw like what's his name, Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Iron Man. Mm-hmm. When he's inside of it, you would see like the display reflecting, and in this one, Steve Rogers, you just see gauges and you see old school technology reflecting in it. So it's just that attention to detail just makes it even greater, because you can see that sort of that parallel use of the visuals, but in a different type of world.
Yeah, and the action to support all that is amazing. She fights two trucks early on, and that I was actually impressed with that. When she takes the shield and smashes up against the first truck and flips it over. And Christopher, you were mentioning another scene that impressed you.
Well, I mean, there's the whole montage scene with Peggy Carter where she's just like beating up Nazis left and right. But there's one where she's like, she breaks through like the front of a plane, beats up everybody inside the plane, jumps out the plane, goes to another plane, and then like Steve Rogers comes out. I mean, there's like one part where she does. I know that I think Steve Rogers did a similar thing with his motorbike, but there's a part where she rides in the motorbike and then she just throws her motorbike and it explodes. There's a lot of people die in this, by the way. I was like, wow, this is an animated thing. Very little blood. It's very A-Team in that respect, but at least we know people die, as opposed to A-Team where somebody would crawl out like, oh, he's okay. But no, there's
got freaking squished.
Well, he gets crushed. But there's parts where you see like grenades go into a room. There's like 5 or 7 people, and like they're dead. but yeah, I mean, there's people getting exploding left and right. But yeah, the action is very frenetic. And by the way, you mentioned earlier, it's like you felt like it was a little bit fast paced because we were smashing 2 hours of a film, but we already know what happens in that film. So you don't necessarily have to show everything. Mm-hmm. So we've already got those connections connected in there, except for those deviancies or whatever, the changes, the variances between the two. But yeah, there's like moments like that are just really great. And just her, like, there's even like, she's even got the pose where she comes down with the shield, and also towards the end when she gets that sword.
Yes.
It's like, man, that's so badass. I mean, moments like that. Well, yeah, and supposedly the comics, the Captain Britain comics, supposedly there was a sword that you could use, that you could wield, that gave you certain abilities and that kind of thing, even like abilities to go between universes and stuff. So I don't know if they could tie that in there, but
yeah, there's 2 swords.
Two swords.
Yeah, one's Excalibur, of course,
and
and the other one is wielded by the Black Knight, and it's the Ebon Blade, I think. And I think that one is going to appear in the Eternals.
Gotcha. Well, it's just interesting how they sort of have that correlations to other comics and stuff, and then we get sort of like, I don't know if they call it that, but was it Shumagoth or whatever that creature from the comics or whatever with
Ooh,
the
yeah,
tentacle monster, which might tie into Doctor Strange 2 or even this
I
new
didn't think
phase.
that was Shuma.
There's debate. There's debate about whether it is
Mhm.
or isn't. Some people are saying it
Because I
is.
always thought that Shuma was smaller.
I don't know. I mean, evidently it takes over universes. I doubt a smaller version of that would do that in the comics. So I don't know. But I mean, yeah, they didn't really spell it out. But it's kind of it's interesting how we now it's even more so that ties into the Hydra logo, trying to bring this creature from another world.
I didn't
That's the
even
reason
think
they
of
have the tentacles in their logo.
I didn't even make that connection. Damn.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that sort of tie into, and even that town that they're in is the town from the first Thor movie, which ended up being New Asgard, is actually the town where they're at. So there's things that tie into so many different the movies, and even Bradley Whitford, his Colonel Flynn character, was in it, one of those Marvel one shot. He was. That's the only time. That's when he was first in. He was in that
wow.
when they decide to create Shield, when they have that little one shot.
But they were
So he was
putting
just
on
in
the
that one little
Blu-rays,
thing. Yeah, and so we get to sort of see his character carry on in this sort of alternate universe. So yeah, so many interesting details and stuff that tie into other things.
Yeah, and of course
we need a Christopher G. Moore's top 10.
I have a few if you want me to give them.
I do, yes.
Well, I'll go through them real quick so we don't take forever. But like the Watcher, of course, Uatu, which is the oldest species devoted to observing, compiling info on all aspects of the universe, and supposedly that character is the one that he's not supposed to be interfering, but he always finds a way to interfere. Let's see. I've already talked to some of the. When she kicks that, she flips that barbell and throws it. That's a Captain America move. He usually does that with. So when she's doing all those barbell weights,
yes.
So we get we get that. There's a part where Peggy Carter says, "Maybe you haven't found the right partner," which is a reflection of the quote from the original Captain America, where she says something about the right partner. So again, it's another take on that specific line. Let's see. And in the very beginning, when Captain Carter, when Peggy Carter decides to stay on the floor, originally all those people were up in this observation area, but in this one, all of them are on the floor this time. So that's a little bit of change in how things were located. Of course, we get Ross Marquand, who voices Red Skull. If you remember, Hugo Weaving played the Red Skull in the original. Because he hated the process so much, he didn't return for the movies. And so Ross Marquand, who's a very good mimic and is very good impressionist, he sort of does his impression of that, and so he returns for this. Let's see. Yeah, when Peggy Carter comes down with her shield, that's the same pose that we get to see Captain America do at one point in the MCU. Of course, we get the "Let's hear it for Captain Carter," which is a reflection of the line "Let's hear it for Steve Rogers." Of course, we also get another repeat of the "Can't feel the effect of alcohol," which actually Steve Rogers tells Peggy in the movie. There's a great little moment. It's more of an ode to old school filmmaking, but the moment where Peggy and Steve are sitting there and they almost have that moment, and then what's his name shows up in the very beginning, and he's like, "Oh, go ahead and do what you're doing," and then we have this sort of like oval, black oval closure on that scene. You have this old timey music. That's an old timey movie transition technique, which I thought was kind of fun because they're sort of tying into a lot of the old timey filmmaking. Of course, we get the really groan-worthy line. I'm sure everybody rolled their eyes where he's like, "You almost ripped my arm off." Wah, wah. Thanks, Winter Soldier. So it's a reference to him losing his arm, but I'm sure everybody groaned in unison when they heard that. The castle is called Castle Crack, which could be a reference to the Kraken, because of this tentacle monster comes out. So, let's see. Oh, and the ending, of course, probably is around 2012 when they had Project Pegasus going on in the Avengers films, and when Samuel Jackson's character says, "Put down your sword," he's actually saying a similar line to when he said to Loki when he says, "Sir, please put down your spear." So those are all the little Easter eggs, things that I saw in this episode.
Wow, those are actually impressive. Very, very cool.
Yeah, there's even more out there when it comes to just connecting to the original films. I mean, there's even scenes where they just basically shot for shot redo, like when in the original Captain America, when Steve Rogers becomes, Captain America, and when he's in that little tube, all the shots are the same. You can put them next to each other, and there's the exact same shots in some scenes.
I wonder if they used them as model, the literal model to
maybe, because I mean it's literally almost like the same. I mean it's lit a little bit differently. They definitely go at it from a different cinematography perspective in certain things, but yeah, it's kind of cool how they sort of reflect those specific moments and then change it up a little bit.
Yeah, of course we get both Fury and Hawkeye at the end, voiced by the actors. So that I really like that. I I know we didn't get we didn't get the original Cap, but I don't think we're going to get him. Well, we're not going to get Chris Evans. We're not going to get.
Well, but did you ever did you really notice it that much though?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was fine.
I mean, the guy does a really good job of sort of like creating that attitude and inflection of his character, and I guess it also helps he's the skinny version too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You don't necessarily have to be all perfect with it, but yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, for me, it's going to be a little bit kind of sad when we get to the next episode that comes out, because then we actually get to see some of the last performances of the guy who played Black Panther. So
hear the performances, yeah. No, that is going to be Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, if you're listening to this review, we want to thank you for hanging out with us. We hope you're enjoying not only this review, but many others that we have online. And if you want to support us, it's easy and free to do. Hit the subscribe button down below or share with a friend, and that'll do wonders. And we'll thank you so much. Please leave us some comments down below. What did you think of What If? What is the what if story you want to see? To me, it's anything with the Hulk. All right, what is your final thoughts, your score 1 to 5, and favorite scene? Slattman, you're up first.
So I think this is a solid first episode. It is very fun. It's really cool to kind of relive that first Avenger movie, but from a completely different perspective. They really nailed the concept that they were going for, and that's about all you can ask for this. Is they nailed it. And the only thing that kind of brings it down for me is the pacing. But at the same time, what Christopher G. Moore said, we're already familiar with this story, so the pacing isn't as important. It does worry me, though, when they get to some of the other more unique stories that won't be kind of a retelling of one of the movies that we've already seen. Like, I know in the trailers we saw Marvel Zombies, and I'm curious how they're going to be able to fit all of that into 30 minutes. So but the studio has proven to me that they have the talent to make it work. So I really think I think they've struck gold with this idea, with this studio. I'm very impressed, and I'm going to give this one a solid 4.5.
Nice.
And my favorite scene, there's a lot of really good scenes,
There is.
but for me, it's probably the introduction of the Hydra Smasher.
Yeah, let's clap on that. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that scene when Steve comes in the Hydra Smasher and just starts breaking everything, and they're just like, Steve, I know that guy. Like that was just that was awesome.
It was. I would definitely want to see more of those moments as we go through What If, those surprises. Christopher G. Moore, what is your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene?
Yeah, I really love this. I think it's, it makes me kind of excited to see what they do with some of these other stories, to see sort of characters maybe go against type or be different versions of themselves, or just be able to see characters do stuff we haven't been able to see because it's sort of like we're so used to sort of like the normal storyline. But yeah, I love the animation. I'm glad that they got a lot of the original actors and stuff to voice some of the characters and stuff. And I think some of the action is some of the most fun action in the MCU. I mean, I want to see more Peggy Carter. This version of Peggy Carter, I really hope that we get to see in other places, and even a spinoff at maybe the years before she gets she gets sucked into a few. But yeah, I really loved it. And I'll say I'm kind of the opposite of what Slattman is talking about. I feel the opposite about it. I'm more interested in seeing these original stories they're going to tell in this universe. I think the biggest thing against it for me is like we're just seeing a repeat of stuff we've already seen, and it's just those little changes that make it different. But to me that it could get boring after a while if we just say, oh, this is how. Now Peggy Carter is Captain America, but she goes the same way, or like, T'Challa. T'Challa's now the new Guardian of the Galaxy, but it plays off the same way. And so I think that's going to be, to me, that's going to be kind of boring after a while if we just see those iterations of how these characters these stories that we already know, and there's just little changes. I want to see some more original stuff. So the zombies thing, I'm more excited about. I know that Marvel can pull it off. We've already seen several shows so far where they can pull off in 30 minutes or 45 minutes a good story. So
Yes.
I'm not worried about that at all. And I think with the zombie thing, it's like they're zombies, so you don't necessarily have to have a far-fetched storyline to sort of spell that out, but. I want to see horror. I want to see Marvel horror. So that's probably the episode I'm most looking forward to. Because as somebody that wants to see Marvel attempt to tell stories in a different subgenre, horror is something they really haven't. They've been scared to go to. I don't know if it's the Disney aspect or whatever, but yeah, I really love this episode. This makes me very excited to see what other stories they tell. I'm looking forward to the Doctor Strange thing, which supposedly Peggy Carter may show up in other episodes of this as well.
Oh, nice.
So I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a wonderful episode. And my biggest thing against it is, again, we're just seeing the stuff we already know, And I think if a lot of episodes are like that, it's going to get old after a while. So I want to see these characters that we know and love, but see them in different situations outside of the normal stuff we've already seen, or we've probably already watched a million times on Blu-ray or Disney Plus. As for favorite scene, I've already mentioned it several times. It's the Peggy Carter montage. That scene where I've never seen that, where somebody's like punches through the front of a plane, beats the crap out of everybody in the plane, jumps out to another plane. It's like, I love this. I want to see more of this type of action in the MCU, because I think we don't. We get to, I don't know, it feels a lot more focused, I guess, than some of the stuff. In some of the movies, everything's so frenetic and crazy, you don't have enough time to really focus on this stuff. But we get to follow her and using the animation, follow her throughout this whole action scenario, and even stuff where she's like beating people left and right. I just like, man, this is my jam. So more swole Peggy Carter,
Stop
please.
it!
Listen, Marvel. Get more of those muscular
Oh.
women beating the crap out of people. It's my jam.
It's your jam. All right, yeah, I love this episode as well. I'm excited for the rest of it, and I agree with Christopher. I am looking forward to Marvel Zombies. Well, we're a horror fan at heart, but next week I am looking forward to, and there's a lot of surprises. We don't know, but 4 or maybe 5 of the episodes, the other ones are entirely a mystery to us. The first 3 people have seen because they were released to press. We didn't see them. We're seeing them live like you guys, but that does mean we know what they are with the Guardians next and Loki after that. So it'll be exciting. I'm all about it. I'm really impressed with the animation. I really am. I think the fluidity of it and the shading of it, I think was really appealing. And it's not overdone, it's not over modeled, but yet it's not really simple either. So I really like it. I'm impressed. I wrote down 4.25. You guys make me feel bad because I want to give it 4.5 now, but I wrote down 4.25, so I'll stick with it just to be different. But my favorite scene, I've mentioned both of them, or you actually, Slattman, you mentioned, I have 2, and in addition to the ones you guys had, and you mentioned one of them, Slattman, and I mentioned the other, but I'm going to go with the one you mentioned, which is when they're trying to repower up the Hydra Smasher, and they do, and he just falls flat on his nose, and it's really funny, and I like the humor in this. I think there's a number of times where the humor really shines in the writing here, and the other scene is going to be when she fights those 2 cars. I don't know why I like that so much. It's I don't know, but anyway, there you go. Right?
Yeah, I love the. I think one of my favorite frame scenes is where she's in front of the headlights of that truck.
Yes.
And she's beating people up. Just the way it's framed and the way they did use the light and stuff. That's where the animation really sells the action in this. And where it's just the camera's just stationary and she's just beating the crap out of people left and right. It's so amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot, and I'm excited to watch all this again. Very cool stuff.
I would like to clarify. I also am very excited for the Marvel Zombies episode.
You go.
That's probably the episode I am also the most excited for. I am just very cautiously optimistic for the episode now.
Well, my only concern is how bloodless is it going to be? You know what I mean?
It's going to be very bloodless.
And I think that's the only thing that I'm kind of I wish they would just go full on R-rated, but
yeah, we
not going to do it.
What do you think the Nexus event is going to be for that episode? Because I have no idea.
Well, some people said that's was it Shumagaroth or whatever that monster? Supposedly that monster can turn people into zombies. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the history around that. But there was one of the videos I watched where they were talking about that might tie into the Marvel Zombies. That sort of.
Are all of these episodes going to be telling one cohesive story then?
Or they just might connect because if there's a multiverse
tied to Doctor Strange too.
If Doctor Strange pulls all these different people out of different universes.
And if Schuma's supposed to be the bad guy in Doctor Strange 2 along with Nightmare, I guess it makes sense.
Along with Nightmare.
Well, again, we don't know. We don't know anything. Because, we all thought a certain person was going to show up in WandaVision and they didn't. So I wouldn't hold my breath.
All right. Well, it's going to be exciting. Join us next week when we review episode 2. Slattman, Christopher, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Yeah,
I can't wait to see.
It was a blast. I'm prepared to cry next week.
It is going to be sad, but
it might be the best episode if if his performance is great, though.
Yeah, I
Well,
am
but
looking
at the
forward to it.
same time, it seems like it might be a fun type of episode. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So regardless of the knowing that like, oh, Chad Boswick, he had so much, life and art ahead of him. I think at least we get these moments where we get to see that sparkle that made him who he is. So yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.